Great. Good afternoon, everyone. So just to repeat again, this is an information session about the enterprise placement, which is an option that you have for your third year undergraduate, where you can start a business or run an existing business for your placement year. So my name's Kath. I'm going to be leading the session today. I'm part of the Aston Enterprise team. We're a department within the university that helps entrepreneurial students and graduates with their business ideas, amongst other things. And I'm also joined by Holly, who's on the session as well from the placements team. So between us, I hope that we will answer any questions you have about this option, hopefully, get you excited about it. Hopefully it's something that you might pursue, and we'll give you information about how to make it happen as well. So let's get going. These are the things we're going to cover in the session. We're going to talk about a bit about Aston Enterprise and BSEEN, which you might have heard of, and how we support students with their businesses, what the enterprise placement is, how it works, what requirements are on you as a student choosing this placement option, and assessment as well. What support is available to you if you were to embark on an enterprise placement. And we've also invited a student who's currently doing an enterprise placement to share a little bit about her experiences of the year so far, and a bit about her business. And we'll have plenty of time for questions because there's not many of you, and we can really answer any specific queries you have about this placement year. So firstly, Aston Enterprise, as I mentioned, we're a department within Aston. We're a really small team, but we are here to support any Aston students who are interested in entrepreneurship, want to find out more about how to set up their own business, maybe get inspired, maybe explore different types of businesses. A really big variety, actually. So this is a bit of a snapshot of how we support you. So we run lots of events throughout the academic year, lots of things like panel discussions, inviting guest entrepreneurs onto campus to share their stories with you, meetups and networking events, workshops, loads of really great stuff. And then kind of a little bit deeper than that, we also run different programs that help you start to develop those ideas in a bit more detail. So we run an annual pitching competition, which has some cash prizes. We have a program called Apollo, where that's like a 6-week course where you can develop your business ideas. We have some bursaries, so like some small amounts of funding for entrepreneurs. And we also run BSEEN, which is hopefully the thing that you're all aware of, which is a 12-month support program to help you launch a business in Birmingham. And this is something that's available to you as a student, but also as a graduate. And it includes loads of different things to help you get started. So we do like a training boot camp, which will cover all the startup fundamentals. We have a £500 grant, we have mentoring, office space, loads of different things basically to kind of give you a really great start when launching a business. And I'll go into a bit more information about how you can access that if you're going to be doing an enterprise placement year. And this is the Aston Enterprise team. I did say it was a small team, so it's myself and Carolyn, who I believe has just joined the call as well. Third team member about to join us. But yeah, these are the people you want to look for at events and things like that if you're interested in setting up a business. This is what we've done this year. Hopefully, maybe some of you have joined some of these events and sessions, but you can just see that we run a lot of stuff throughout the year, loads of different types of events. So if you haven't been involved previously, it'd be great to see you. In the next academic year, we'll have a similar calendar of events coming up as well. So moving on to what you've come to find out about. So what is the enterprise placement? It's a bit of a different option. Most people will be looking for like job roles within different types of companies, and looking to have that experience. But we do have the option for students who want to run a business of their own to do this placement year. So you basically gain a year to really focus and work on an idea that you've had, and this can be an idea that's brand new, something you haven't actually taken any practical steps yet to set up, or it can be a business that you're already running. We do speak to quite a few Aston students who are already running businesses, they're already trading, up and running, and they want to use that year to really focus and grow the business and do different things with it. So both of those things are welcome, and we've definitely seen both over the years that this has been an option. And what it's also about is being part of a group of entrepreneurial students who are doing the same thing as you. So although it's different to a job placement in that you won't have a manager as such, you won't have a team that your direct colleagues, but you will be part of a team in the sense that there's usually a group of around 15 Aston students who are doing this for their placement. So we like to connect you all up at the start of the year and kind of treat you as a cohort of students who can connect with each other, learn from each other, maybe even work together in some way. So I think that's a big part of the year as well. And as I've mentioned, there's also the opportunity to gain additional support from the Aston Enterprise team, specifically through the BSEEN programme. This is a question we get a lot, and I think there is some confusion, and it's not entirely clear because it does really depend on your individual circumstances. So you might have heard of BSEEN programme. I've already spoken a bit about it, and they're actually two separate things. So the enterprise placement and BSEEN are two separate programs, but we encourage you to do both at the same time if you can. So if you're in your second year now and you're looking at doing a business for your placement year, we'd really encourage you to apply for BSEEN at the same time if you're eligible, because it just means that you will receive additional support during that year than you would if you weren't on the programme. For example, the £500 grant that I mentioned, and our mentoring programme as well. So there are different eligibility criteria, and you do have to apply separately, but I can speak to anyone individually to check if you're eligible, but really it's about the fact that you need to be a new business. So unfortunately, if you're already up and running and trading, you won't be eligible for BSEEN, and you have to be setting up that business in Birmingham. So for some people that doesn't work, and that's not what they want to do. So although you can definitely still do an enterprise placement year, you won't be eligible for BSEEN. So I hope I'm explaining this clearly. It's it's something that we do talk about a lot, and I'm happy to just talk to anyone individually about their circumstances to explain it to you. But the main thing to take away is that you can complete an enterprise placement without being on BSEEN and vice versa. So you can be part of BSEEN, get support to launch a business without doing it for your placement year as well. So there are lots and lots of options available to you. BSEEN has its own website, b-seen.biz, and so if you haven't already, please do take a look at that. It's got lots of detail about the package of support that we offer, information about past companies that have been set up through BSEEN, about our mentors, all different types of things. So yeah, if you think you might be eligible and you might be interested, then definitely have a look at our website. So why do an enterprise placement? If you're attending the session, I'm pretty sure you know why you want to do it. You want to have that opportunity to start your own business. But just to touch on some of the reasons that we hear from students why they want to do one, and what we think the benefits are. Is giving you the time and space to progress an idea that you kind of just can't get out of your mind, that you really want to have the opportunity to work on, but perhaps university commitments or employment or whatever it might be has held you back from exploring, and this will give you kind of a full year to be able to do that. but knowing that you will be returning to university for your final year. So people kind of have told us in the past that it's nice to have that bit of a safety net and to have the time and space to explore it, but knowing that you still are going to be finishing your degree afterwards. You'll be developing practical knowledge about starting a business. You'll literally be doing it for yourself. So naturally, you're going to be learning a huge amount. Develop entrepreneurial skills as well. And these skills are going to be hugely useful for your business. But they're also going to be so relevant to many careers that you might choose to look at beyond that as well. You know, skills like how to sell an idea, time management, creativity, self-motivation. These are things that are not limited to people who are running their own business. They're things that can really help you sell yourself to a future employer as well. And it can be a real solid foundation for a future entrepreneurial career path. So the idea that you have now, or the idea you might pursue now, is not necessarily the one that's going to work, that's going to be something you work on the rest of your life, but it's something that will stand you in really good stead for the future. It's you know, we hear loads of examples of entrepreneurs who, you know, finally succeed with their 10th business or whatever it is, but this year can provide that solid foundation of learning, even if it's not something you necessarily pursue longer term. You might want to challenge yourself to start something brand new. You don't want to, you know, go into an employer and kind of do the same old things other people are doing. You want to start something brand new for yourself, and maybe the traditional placement year just doesn't appeal to you. You're not quite finding things that are inspiring you and things you want to do. So if all of these things are kind of resonating and sound appealing to you, then yeah, this could be a good option. So acceptance criteria. We are really open to the type of business that can be started or grown if it's an existing business, but we will be evaluating you against 3 criteria. So that is whether it's viable, scalable, and innovative. Now, these are quite broad terms and they're things that are open to interpretation, but I think this is something to just bear in mind when you are completing an application. You know, I think viable is the main one, really. We want to see that this is an idea that is reasonable, that it makes sense, that there is a target customer for your business, that it's something you as an individual are able to do. You know, is it something within your knowledge, within your skills, something you know about? Do you know the market, and can you show us that? Scalable, I think, you know, we'd like to see evidence that you are ambitious, that you want to grow this business. Because we think that's where you're going to really learn, and it's something that we think would be great to show in your application. And innovative, I think this is really open to interpretation. You know, what is innovative? And we're not saying it has to be something completely brand new, like a new invention, but can you show us why what you're doing is different and how you're going to stand out from your competitors is what we really want to see. And we want to see evidence that this is a business that you'll be able to launch and to grow within the placement year and have a really valuable learning experience from. And that's something that would be equivalent to the standard placement year experience. You must also register the business legally through HMRC or Companies House. That's something that we can support you with, absolutely. And be ready to start trading within 3 months of registering the business. I'd say that's a rough guide, but you know, if you're saying to us, I'm going to start this business, but I'm not really planning to start trading until another year, something like that, then that wouldn't really work for this placement, because we really want you to be up and running as soon as possible so you can start learning and you know, ultimately adapting what you're doing and growing the business. You must dedicate at least 21 hours a week to managing and developing the business. We definitely want it to be a substantial amount of your week, although it is possible to work part-time on top of that, obviously. And you must check in monthly with the BSEEN team, so that's with myself and Carolyn, and engage with the support offered. So that actually leads me nicely onto requirements and assessment. I'm sure you're interested to know about this, how this works, because it is different to a standard placement. So just to run you through some of the things that you're required to do, and also the academic assessment, because even though this is all about you and your business, you still will be required to complete academic assessment work, the same as any placement year. So there is something called the Enterprise Placement Agreement. It's a short document, and I can share this with everybody so you can have a look at it, in advance to make sure it's something you might be happy with. So you're required to sign and return this, and it just sets out our expectations of you, what you can expect from us. It will cover a lot of the things I'm talking about in this session, in terms of spending the majority of your time working on the business, and it reminds you, for example, to allow time to complete the placement assignment and to engage with your placement tutor. There's a list on there of milestones, so things that during this year we would expect you to complete, and that is things like register the business, create a business plan, create a marketing plan. It's a list of about 8 documents, I think, that we would expect you to have done by the end of the year. And we also expect you to be aware of your responsibilities as a director or kind of self-employed person. This is a real thing, you are starting a business for real, and that will carry legal responsibilities and obligations, and we will help you to understand what they are, but ultimately things like completing a tax return and all those other requirements, they are very much your responsibility. So that is the agreement that we'd expect you to sign up to. You'd also be required to do a monthly placement report. So this is a really simple online form. Once a month, starting from October, ending in May, we'd expect you to update us on your progress, which allows us to see what you're up to, but also spot opportunities for us to help you where we can. You can see the list of the questions that will be asked each month. And it's to help you as well. I think at the end of the year, you'll be asked a lot of reflective type questions about your experiences. You might use your experiences in a presentation, for example, and having that monthly log as you go along will help you to do that, but also to reflect on yourself as an entrepreneur and always improve what you're doing. So yeah, that would be another key part of the placement. Ongoing support engagement. So if you're eligible for BSEEN, you will be able to access quite a lot of support for your business. On top of that, we have a WhatsApp group where the placement students who are doing this can, as I mentioned, talk to each other, share ideas, and generally be a support for each other. You'll also receive support from the on-placements team, the same as any placement student. So they're there for you, in all circumstances, really. Maybe Holly can elaborate a bit if anyone has any questions, but that's what they're there for. You also have support from your placement tutor. So everyone will be allocated a placement tutor, and they will support you more specifically on the academic side of things. If you're not eligible for BSEEN, we have a lot of sessions recorded. We have lots of materials, lots of ways we can share those with you, even if you're not officially part of the program. We do things like we have lawyers and accountants come and do advice clinics, and that will be opened up to you whether you're part of BSEEN or not. We've run lots of events, as I mentioned, and you can always book a one-to-one and have an advice session, or just have a chat. We don't want anyone to be going through this by themselves. That's the whole point of there being this group of students doing it, and our team being there to support you. So you're welcome to book a one-to-one at any point. And there's also other ad hoc opportunities that come up, different training opportunities or bursaries, which is what we've just finished advertising actually, so small amounts of funding for entrepreneurs, and you will be on a list to receive those bits of support as they come up. We also have a co-working space, so we have an office space that's shared with people who are part of the BSEEN programme, and it's located at a place called Innovation Birmingham campus. It is just over the road from the Aston campus. It's by the Gloucester Green pub, and it has 24/7 access, and more importantly, lots of other entrepreneurs and small businesses. So as an enterprise placement student, you would have access to that if you wanted it. And they also run their own events and networking, and it can be a really useful source of maybe potential clients or just partners. So we'd encourage you to make the most of that as well if you were based in Birmingham. I'm just going to touch briefly on academic assessment. It's not something we can give specific details on right now because it does change year by year, and it also differs by college. So we don't necessarily want to tell you something that's wrong, but ultimately you will receive a placement year handbook at the start of the year, which will include academic assessment information and deadlines, which are usually at the end of the year. Enterprise placement students are preparing that kind of assessment work round about now, May time. And in the past it has involved things such as a presentation focusing on an element of your business, but drawing out some academic theory to support that, or reflective journal type questions. So it can vary, but you are absolutely going to be using your experiences running a business in that academic assessment, and that's something your placement tutor will be able to guide you through and answer questions about at the start of the year. So, summary. Running a business, this is a very obvious statement, but it requires a huge amount of self-motivation and self-learning. So I think being very aware of what you're like as a person, and is that something you want and something you think you would thrive with. It's absolutely not for everybody. Some people would prefer to have a more traditional placement opportunity with a line manager and maybe someone more senior to learn from. This will be very much on you, and that is obviously both a huge opportunity and something that can be quite difficult. A question that we get a lot is how your kind of success will be judged. It's not the case that if your business fails that you fail your placement year. It's not. That wouldn't be fair, and that's not real life, because businesses do fail. That's kind of a fact of life. So that's not how you will be assessed. It will be more about what work you put into the business and what you learn from that, and your efforts really, rather than financial targets to do with your business or anything like that. So just want to make sure no one is worried about that. We'd encourage you as well to think about what happens to your business after the placement year. As I said, this is a real life business. It will be your responsibility what happens with it after the year, and a lot of that will depend on, of course, how it's going, and do you have customers, do you have obligations you need to carry on with, but it might be something worth thinking about as you go through the year. What happens when you go back to your final year? Student finance, we definitely encourage you to also talk to the hub about that. We believe this is classed as an unpaid placement, so without being an expert in student finance, I can't exactly tell you what the impact of that would be on your student finance. So we definitely encourage you to clarify that before committing to an enterprise placement. And we just love to hear from you if you are doing an enterprise placement. We love hearing all the good news stories, little wins, and we've got a new client, or we've hit a certain amount of users of our app, whatever it might be. That's what we love to hear. So we definitely want to be engaged with you and be in touch with you. we do expect you to show commitment and effort when developing your business. Naturally, this is what you'll want as well, so we'll be working alongside you for the same goal. And also, as I mentioned, there will be a set of documents to produce, such as a business plan and monthly reports, but we are absolutely there to help you with that. You're probably thinking about deadlines. So handily, we have the same deadline for the BSEEN programme as the enterprise placement. And there are 2 deadlines that you can go for. So we have a deadline at the end of this week, which would be for our June cohort. So on BSEEN, we have cohorts of students or graduates who join the programme at the same time. And that's when you would complete our training boot camp. So we have one of those in June coming up. So if you want to apply by the end of this week, you can be part of that boot camp and start your placement then, basically start it in June. Or if you want a little bit more time to plan or to just start a little bit later, you can apply by the 14th of August, and that would be for our September cohort and boot camp, and then your placement would start early September, yeah, kind of as standard. So there are 2 deadlines coming up depending on when you would want to start your placement year. And the process is really simple. It's an online application. The link is there, and I can share it around as well afterwards. And then you'd be invited for an interview, which would include a short presentation. And if you're interested in applying for both the enterprise placement and BSEEN, you have to make 2 separate online applications, but only 1 interview, because it's the same. It's all through our team, so we wouldn't expect you to do 2 interviews, but you do have to apply separately. But luckily, just 1 interview. So yeah, there is 1 deadline fast approaching if you are interested in that. And this is like the most interesting bit is hearing about what other students have done for their placement year. So just wanted to share a few examples with you. Joseph Poxon, a couple of years ago, set up Rugged Nature, a company that creates eco-friendly male grooming products, and he's doing extremely well. He's stocked in a number of shops across the city, across the Midlands, I believe. He's done trade fairs at the NEC. Yeah, he's doing really, really well and selling his products online as well. He's got his own e-commerce site. George Greenhill set up Protein Package. That's like pick and mix protein snacks delivered to your door, and again he's been turning over, I think, hundreds of thousands of pounds. He was someone who was already running the company before he started his placement year, but then used that year to really grow it, and to have all the time to do all the things he always wanted to do but never quite had the time to do it. So they're just a couple of examples. I won't read them all out, but I can share these with you afterwards. And before we have any questions or just general discussion, I've invited along Ashvini, who is currently doing a placement year, running her jewellery business. So just wanted to invite her to share a few thoughts with us on how she's been finding it, and a bit about her business. So Ashvini, are you there?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, I'm not able. Oh, okay. Yeah, I am able to share video. Let me just. Yeah. So about me, I study politics and economics, and I'm obviously my 3rd year, my placement year. So my business is a jewelry business, and so I would say that I was massively influenced by my degree. So during my degree, I was exposed to the disparities of labour in production, and specifically the outsourcing of production from Western countries to Eastern countries. And this became quite prevalent during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, where fast fashion companies weren't paying their labourers properly, or refusing to pay because they didn't have any demand in their home country. So after that, I kind of started researching more about sustainable jewelry and about labor disparities and about how jewelry could be as long lasting as possible. And I came up with my business, which is Crimson Jewelry. And so the whole kind of brand revolves around sustainability. And yeah, so since I started running it with the enterprise placement, I've curated a lot of like really good ideas with sustainability and even like a recycling program where if any piece of jewelry break, people can contact me to get it repaired for free, so it doesn't end up in landfills. I'm also a part of the HSBC program, which has been amazing. And the program has allowed me to interact with loads of different types of small business consultants and startup consultants. So we have bi-weekly workshops that focus on like specific types of parts of creating a startup and progressing it and making it grow as quickly, like as well as possible. Yeah, so with the program, I've definitely been able to kind of research more about what I need to do with how to run a business and how to focus on customers. Before I started the program, I was kind of targeting everyone as a customer, and I realize now that that's not what I need to do, because not everyone will buy a product, and if you spend your time and money on marketing to people who will buy it, you're more likely to get like better interactions and better responses, really. So the future of my my business and kind of like my plans going forward, I would love to create a collective, and this kind of revolves around like labor disparities in other countries. So I would love to create a kind of platform where artisans around South Asia could have their work represented on like the platform and have better pay and kind of get paid for what they're making, really, because that's kind of what that's kind of like what they're already doing with working for larger companies. But if that could be done on like a smaller scale and them being represented properly, that would be amazing. Yeah, that's it really.
Brilliant.
Any questions or anything?
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions at all about Ashwini's experience of the enterprise placement year or about her business even? Yeah, if you do have any questions, pop them in the chat or maybe raise your hand, whatever you prefer. Or maybe we don't have any questions. Great. Okay. Well, yeah, if you want to maybe just stick around for a few minutes, Ashwini, and just in case there are any questions at the end. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing about your business, and yeah, it's been amazing to see the progress you've made in a really short amount of time, I think. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. So I think that wraps up all the information that we wanted to share. But now is the time, if you have any questions about the placement year, how it works, how you can get involved, yeah, now is the time to ask. So does anyone have any questions for us at all? Brilliant, Mohammed. Would it be possible to start a business alongside friends? Yes, it would be possible. What I will say is that you all have to make a kind of separate application. So you'd be treated as kind of individuals applying to do an enterprise placement year. And then there is space, I think, on the application form to say that you're part of a team and who your team members are. So that we know. And then we would probably interview you together so that we could get a sense of you as a team and yeah, to see you as a group. So yeah, no, it's absolutely possible. And I think actually it's probably encouraged because, you know, it just means you have different skills within the team and different knowledge. And no, it's often a really good thing. How many members maximum? I don't think there is anything, you know, that we've written down in terms of a maximum, but I would just say that you have to be you have to be mindful that in a company you all need an incentive to start the company. So, for example, if you all wanted a share of the company, you know, I think once you get past a certain number of people, that starts to be less of an incentive, and it becomes harder to work together. You know, you're kind of managing a larger team, aren't you? So I would just be aware of that. But yeah, it depends how many you're thinking, really. But we've definitely had 2s and 3s. We haven't seen any team bigger than that, but that's not to say that we wouldn't approve it. I think we just have some questions about how you would work together. Brilliant. Okay, thank you. And does anyone else have any other questions? Feel free to type or raise a hand. Easy either way. Great. Holly, do you have anything to add from the placements team point of view?
Not too much to add from our side, really. I think everything has been covered, especially a lot of the questions we tend to be asked about the enterprise placement option as well. But I guess the main thing would be if you're sort of thinking about it as well, as one of the things we always say is to get in contact with the team directly as well, because obviously they are the experts, and so always advise to do that and just have a look at what other students have done beforehand as well. But especially if any students are sort of confused and maybe don't know whether they want to do the enterprise or a traditional one, best thing to do is just come in and speak to us as well, and then so one of the placement coordinators can go through, you know, sort of what each would involve and what to expect from, you know, a traditional one versus maybe an enterprise one, and help to come to a decision sort of around that as well. But as I say, everything today sort of covered all the main things that we would say and advise students, and a lot of the questions we tend to get asked as well.
Brilliant, thank you very much. So yeah, I think that kind of concludes everything. I think the main thing to say as well is that it's a really exciting opportunity. It's quite unique. I think it's something that is you won't get again, really. That kind of opportunity to have a year to work on a business idea with support and you know, with also the knowledge that you're still doing your degree as well. There's a kind of limited risk in that, you know, you don't have to drop out to do this. So I'd say if you do have a burning idea, it's something you've already started looking into, maybe some research, you know, you've been talking to friends and family about it, maybe want to take the next step, definitely welcome any conversations, and we can give you feedback and kind of see if it's something that might work. So yeah, if it's something you kind of can't forget about and you really want to give it a go, then I think this could be a really good option for you. Where could I find the documents for requirements? So I think, Holly, am I able to email everyone that signed up on Aston Futures?
Should be able to. Yes.
Should be able to. Okay, so if you signed up on Aston Futures, I will email you the documents in terms academic requirements. We don't have those available, unfortunately, at the moment, because they'll be released when the new handbook for the year is released. But just to say that there will be the same requirements that someone doing a standard placement would be doing. It's not different for the enterprise placement. It's just that you'd be using your kind of business experiences in your work versus kind of job experiences. Yeah, that's kind of all I can say about that at the moment in terms of the academic work. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, I can follow up with just some key links and dates just for everyone who signed up. But if that's all, thank you for attending, and yeah, hope some of you might be interested in applying, and hope we maybe get to see some of your business ideas soon. Brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.